So I'm here at work and wrote out another ukulele song, and it is Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles. Pretty cool song. And since I'm here at work, all I did was just scribble it all out, including crossing things out and crossing other things and then not understanding what I crossed out and rewrote. So then I have to write what it is that I wrote that I can't even read with like words. It's a 5, so I actually wrote FIVE with a arrow to the 5 so that I would know what the little scribble actually was. It was a 5. So it's really like a mess, but that's how I do everything. Everything's always a disaster. Anyway, so Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. It's obviously not a ukulele song. Well, everything, to me, everything could be a ukulele song. But there's no ukulele originally in it. And it's a little kind of an interesting song. There's weird keyboard thing in it, doing little single note things. This was when the Beatles really started to use the studio more. Originally, they would write songs and perform songs, and they played different places. Famously, the Cavern Club in Hamburg, Germany. They played there a lot, multiple shows a day, something like 8 or 9 shows a week they would play there. And so obviously they were a live band, a 4-piece live band, and everything that they wrote they had to be able to perform as a live band. Then at some point they decided that they were sick of playing live and wanted to just focus on studio stuff. And that's when they really started to experiment in the studio. So things like this, they could not have done as a 4-piece live. There's just too many things going on. But it made for great studio albums. So this song starts off with I think it's a harpsichord sound. And I say a harpsichord sound because sometimes they would speed up or slow down the tape. So they would have there was a song, I forget, where George Martin, the producer, actually did the piano solo in the middle and slowed the tape down, and he played it. And then when they sped it up, the piano sounds like a harpsichord. So that's why I say harpsichord sound. I don't know exactly if it was a harpsichord. I'm sure I could Google it, but anyway. So I had to figure out a way to do it on ukulele. So here we are. And what started out as there was kind of 3 different parts to the song. It turns out that each time they do the verse, there's slight differences in the weird little harpsichord parts. So anyway, I think it's in 3/4 time, and I say I think because 3/4, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3. In 6/8, 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6. Could be very similar. So the very beginning, the first 3 notes, if I just kept playing them, I could go 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3, or 1 2 3 4 5 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6. And you see it comes out the same. 1 2 3, 1 2 3, 1 2 3 4 5 6. So it just depends. 3 4 6 8, half time, double time. I'm not sure. It kind of sounds like 6 8, but I'm going to go with 3 4 because then there keeps being a single measure of 3. So if it's 6 8, then we have to go with, and then a half of a measure of 6 8. So if we do 3 4, it's 3, 3, 3, 3. And then the half of a measure, it's 3 beats, so it comes out to be a full measure. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So the intro is, so it's all on these 3 strings, 4, 5, 7. So the first is 1, 2, 3, then 7, 7, 5. So it's 7, 7, 5. I didn't know if somebody was just at the door. 7, 7, 5. And then 6, 5, 7. Going from the C, the E, and the A. And then 5 on the C string, 5 on the A, pull off to the 4th fret, and then the 5th on the E string. So, dun, 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 dun. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3 is the rhythm of that first measure. Okay, so the intro is just that once. Okay, then the verse starts, and it's that once. Then the next line is the same there, but then it's 5 and 8 on the C and E strings together. So 5 and 8 together, then 5 on the E string, 8 on the E string, and then 5 and 5 together. So it's still on those 2 strings. No, yeah. That's what it is. Okay, so the first part of the verse is, okay, and that's that extra measure. So the second line of that verse is 1, 2, 3, 1 measure, 2 measures, 3 measures, 4 measures, 5, 2, 3 measures. So it ends up to be 5 measures, and that's what would have been that half of 6. So that's why I'm sticking with 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then the first line again. Then, and now it's 5 and 4 on those last 2 strings, the E and the A. 7, 4, 5 and 7, 4, 7. And then so the last line, it's confusing, it'll all be typed out, but and then we get into just regular old chords. So then it's B flat, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, B flat, 2, 3, B flat, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, G, 2, 3, G, 2, 3, D, 2, D, D. And that's the bass drum that comes in. So you play the D, then bam, 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 and then into the chorus, which is now in 4. So G, C, D, 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 G, C, D, D. Does this 3 times. C, G, D, and then D, 2, 3, 4 is the at the end. So 1 extra measure of D. It does it 3 times, those chords, and then 1 extra measure of D at the end. Then to the second verse. So the second verse is almost exactly the same. And again, it's easier you just look at it all typed out. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. But the end of the second line, instead of it going, it goes. So you'll see when it's typed out. But it's just instead of 1, 2, 3, it's 1, 2, 3. And then it does, that's the second line of the verse. Then it does the third line of the verse, which is just the intro again, that line. And then the fourth line of the verse. And instead of the last two measures, instead of, it goes 2 5s there. So pretty simple. And then the B flat, C, F, B flat, C, G, D, and dun dun dun. And then the chorus. And that's the same, including with the extra measure of D. And then the third verse, which the first half is exactly the same as the first verse, without that little change at the end of the second line. So it goes back to the original first two lines of the verse. Then the third line of the verse is the same, which is the intro thing again. Then the fourth line, we're actually going to replace the last three measures. So instead of doing the fourth line, instead of that, it's where am I? See how am I messed up writing? So the last 3 minutes. So that's just single note things. And you know what? We could actually make this a little more interesting. Yeah, I'm going to add that little extra note in there, the 5th fret on the E string. I think that sounds a little better. So then we end up with, actually we're only replacing the last 2 measures now, because I made the 1, 2, 3, the 4th measure, which we were replacing, back to the original by adding that 5 on the E string. So now it's yeah, I like that. Then it doesn't do the B flat to C part. It doesn't do all that. It just goes straight to the chorus. And it does the chorus with a slight change. So G, C, D, G, C, D, D, G, C, D, D. Then instead of 1 extra measure of D, it's 1 extra measure of D, 1 extra measure of A. Then right back again, C and D, D, G, C, D, D, G, C, D, 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 A, G, C, and it just keeps repeating to fade. I would say if you're going to do it without the fade, maybe just do that twice and then end on G. Yeah, maybe end on G. That doesn't sound great. Because the kind of key gets a little funky. G, C, D, G. Yeah, end on G. It'll sound fine. But anyway, so there we are. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Kind of wacky. A little more involved than I thought, but not terrible. So.